Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and I am back with Amateur Attack. And right now, I have somebody with me. And no, it's not the little guy in my head, it's my guest caster. How are you doing, aciesSpawn?
I am doing amazing, Coffee. Thank you for having me here.
Of course, it's always just a ton of fun to bring on guest casters, get their input, and let them have a try at casting, because it's hella fun, and I shouldn't hog it all for myself. In this game, we are going to be featuring a new player to the Coffee Cast. Over here, we are going to be having Looc, our purple Terran player, spawning on the left side here on MLG Dual Site. And over on the right side, we have our returning player, AciesPure, our teal Protoss player, who has shown in multiple games that he can be a very, very high-level Protoss. Spawn, you were on the same team as Pure. Do you know how he plays his PvTs?
He usually goes one gate expand. It seems extremely risky, but with the metagame right now, he can actually chrono boost out enough units to be able to take a safe expansion.
Absolutely, and you are completely right with that. The one gate expand is so potent versus Terrans, and you said it's risky, and that's because it is. If the opponent decides to go any sort of Banshee timing push, Cloak Banshee, or even Stim concussive shell pushes, can be rather devastating to it, and it's just kind of tough to do, but if you know what you're doing, you can always get away with it.
Yes, I would love to see a good Banshee harass from Looc. I think that is one of AciesPure's weaknesses, is multitasking. And with this third, if he tries to take a fast third, drops are going to take a big part because it's a long distance between the natural and the third over here.
I would completely agree, and for those of you who can't see what he's looking at right now, I will show it to you right there. There's our third base right there, and you have to walk all the way up this really large ramp, so you can't even force field this very well if you need to, all the way over here to the natural. So drops definitely could be a prevalent factor in this game. I'm really interested to see Luc's style in this game. I do not know much about the Terran side on PvT other than ghosts are awesome, and I hate going against them myself.
Ghosts seem to be the metagame right now. A good Marauder Marine ghost can take on most of what Protoss can dish out.
Indeed they can, with that EMP ability taking out, I believe, 100 shields and most of the energy of any unit. They can pretty much cut the Protoss life in about a third or in about a half. Now we do see this Cybernetics core coming up just now for AciesPure. I would expect to see a Stalker coming out right after that because that is generally what he likes to do. And then a Pylon and Nexus.
You're spot on there, Coffee. We got a 1 Rax expansion going down for Looc.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's cool backwards, and I know that's the intention, but how do we pronounce it the way it is? It drives me nuts. Just now getting the refinery for Looc, I don't even know. Just now getting that refinery, so we will not be seeing any sort of crazy push. And as you also pointed out, we do have this command center coming down on the high ground. That will finish up shortly, and with the position it's built in, I think he might be going for a little bit of a ninja expand over here to kind of an unnatural area just to the north of his main.
We'll see if Pure scouts this. If he doesn't, it may be a game changer, because if a Protoss doesn't see an expansion early, now with the metagame, and he's going to see these 3 racks, that's going to happen eventually. So he's either going to see the expansion and say 3 racks expansion, right? Or he's not going to see it and he's going to expect a strong push here soon, which will make him cut probes.
Indeed. Another thing that could definitely happen, I really hope for Pure's sake at least, that he doesn't feel safe by any means. He might feel really safe just to go ahead and macro up super hardcore, but just because this command set, whoa, that is floating all the way north to the gold base. There are no rocks on this map protecting the gold.
Yes, that's actually quite surprising for him to take a fast gold. You see that a lot on Metalopolis right now, even Resurg's taking the gold fast. But with this gold very close to the Protoss base, it's going to be very hard to defend it if it comes under attack.
Yes, it will. I mean, this is a really risky move, but it's one of those moves, risky, but if you can do it, it really pays off. And especially with these mules, they return so many minerals. I think is it 7 or 8 minerals per run at a gold base? Do you know by chance?
It's ridiculous, that's all I know.
I would completely agree, because we all know that mules are completely balanced, and we would never want to spark a debate like that here on the Coffee Cast.
course not.
We are having probes chrono boosted out right now for Pure, which is one thing I really like in PvT. In PvT and PvZ, you can really spend those chrono boosts liberally. You can spend it on warp gate tech, probe, robotics. In PvP, you have to be very, very careful about how you spend those chrono boosts. But since, once again, this is a PvT, he can really put those down anywhere he wants. Just a very nice thing to be able to do. 3 mules at a time over here at this gold base. The income tab has skyrocketed for the Terran's favor. He is peaking over 2,000 minerals a minute when Pure is barely peaking at 1,000 minerals a minute. That is going to be devastating if Pure doesn't find out about that soon.
We've also got a strong push here coming from our Terran player. Now, looking at Pure's army, it may not look as big as this army, but with the right force fields cutting in half and preventing, what's it called? Stutter stepping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Drew blank there. And we now see Guardian Shield being used. That's very good against Marines. It cuts the Marines' damage to almost nothing. I would expect to see Colossus tech coming out here soon, seeing the high Marine count.
I would completely agree that Twilight Council is just finishing up. That would kind of be the determining moment if that's going to be, well, I mean, I guess in the next minute or so, if we're going to be seeing Templar play or Colossus play. Pure is going to need to decide soon, though. He does have all 4 of his gases taken, though, so every strategy that he wants to do is just perfectly open on the game.
We've got a third down here for our Terran player, and still not the usual place, I suppose. Still hasn't taken natural.
Definitely interesting. We are seeing a little bit of engagement. A few force fields do go down, but not quite proper force field placement, and it does not cut the army in half.
Now this is a scary army from our Terran player, but now with that Immortal, you know, that Immortal may not do as much. Good force fields there, and I think Pure will hold for now. We'll see.
It does look like Pure is going to hold in this battle. The Immortal doing just enough damage to those Marauders to get them off the field and let the Stalkers just do the rest of the work. A very nice hold from Pure, and that puts them up 78 to 62 supply. But once again, like you were mentioning, we do have this third base down here in kind of an unusual spot. I don't know his reasoning for the positioning of his bases. Oh my goodness, he's taking a 4th as well. It's going to be 4 base to 2 base if Pure doesn't decide to do something about it very soon.
Another interesting thing over here, we have a tech lab. 2 tech labs on these factories.
2 tech labs. That's
highly unusual. Tank coming out. You don't see tanks very often in PvT.
Sorry, keep talking for just a second here. I'm turning you up just a little bit.
Alright.
There we go.
Got a proxy pylon coming down over here near the 4th. Well, what would be the 4th if everything was taken in order. We'll see if that...
yeah,
did he spot this?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It looks like he has, as he is pulling his entire army over here to try to do something about it.
And it looks like yep, this base is close. Let's see what our Looc's reaction is. We still got Siege Check going down and Siege Checks coming out. And I don't know, this base may... Nope, there's nowhere for it to run.
Oh no, just flew in kind of the wrong direction. He needed to fly it left and not straight north. However, he did get a lot of mining time down at this gold base. I really think that strategy was worth it. And even with losing that 4th base, he still has the potential to be on 3 base. He only has 2 bases saturated. He did lose a lot of SCVs. There's now 50 to 27. 14 killed in that battle. But, I mean, he still has potential to come back.
I think what would happen if Looc, our Terran player, started dropping right now. Got the Protoss army out in the middle of the map, and with such a big map, this may look like a small map, but it's pretty big. And it would just be devastating on our Protoss player right now.
I would completely agree. Just a drop, I know you can't see where I'm looking, a drop in the back of the mineral line over here in the main, or even a drop just on the side here next to the expansion could do quite a bit of damage. Looks like Pure has now found the 3rd base as well for Looc.
Still got heavy Marine production. We'll see if he decides to try to defend it. And looks like so.
Yeah, he will. Oh my goodness, that entire 3rd base is going to fall. Trying to, oh my goodness, that is a lot of Marines. That is 2 full pages worth of Marines. He's going to need to be very, very careful.
Great force field.
I would agree. Great force field. That could be the game changer in that battle right there with the charge loss up front.
I like what Pierre's doing right now. He's won 2 victories so far, taking out both bases, and did significant damage to this Terran player. But now he's backing up. He's trying not to lose this, as he knows if he loses his entire arm right now, Looc could just walk into his base and destroy everything.
Indeed he could. We are having Terran vehicle plating and Terran vehicle weapons on the way now, because guess what? We have 2 Thors on the field as well as 2 siege tanks. This is a very, very interesting composition out of our Terran player, and I'm not quite sure what to make of it. However, this could be actually a rather scary push, because Thors tank so much damage.
We do have 2 Colossus out for Pierre, though. That will be the difference maker with this heavy marine composition.
Indeed it will. Colossus actually do beat Thors when it's when there are multiple of each. However, Thors, once again, I mean, their point is just to do massive damage to the infantry units and hope that the tanks and marines and marauders can clean up the Colossus. But I just don't know if he's going to be able to get into that army for Pierre, though. That's a nasty looking death ball there.
Pierre's army being split up there for a second. If Pierre can stay out of this siege tank line and take the army without siege support, he may be in good shape.
Now, the siege tanks are on siege for a couple of moments there. Really needed to be sieged up. I think that you see a tank hop rather than unsiege both the tanks. 3 Thors now are in the battle, but there are also 3 Colossus, and the entire ground army from Looc is already fallen, and a little bit of an army behind Looc as well. He just got sandwiched right there, and his forces were not looking at the proper thing.
Looks like Luc's macro slipped a little bit, so he's not going to have an army behind this. And this push, this follow counterattack, may do a lot of damage to our Terran player.
Yes, it could. Our Terran player really has nothing left. I mean, it's 74 to 113 supply. Pierre still has all 3 of his Colossus is really what it comes down to. You really don't need to look any further than that. And we only have a handful of Marines and a Thor back to defend for Looc. And there's an upgrade.
You got SCVs of repairs.
Oh yeah, that's going to be super, super annoying for Pierre. However, with just a few Colossus up front, he's actually sending the Colossus out all the way first just to take out all those SCVs repairing. 250mm strike cannons are on the way, but I don't think that's going to be done in time to try to help in this battle. But that's an upgrade you do not see on.
I don't know. No, he's not going to hold. I thought for a second the repair might do enough, but Pierre choosing to back out without much support units for his Colossus. Got a big war front going on at home, though.
Indeed, that was actually a very nice hold by Looc. I'm surprised he was able to hold that with all of his Colossus frying away at the SCVs and the Thors alike. The SCVs on the mass repair for the Thors, so this 250mm strike cannon will indeed get out. That is, I mean, that's rare. Just downright rare to see that upgrade. And I don't even know what it does anymore, I'll be honest. 500 damage over 6 seconds, and it stuns the target in an area of effect, last I knew. Fires at a single unit or structure, so no. It's just to be able to take out the Colossus, I assume, but that it will do. I would expect to see some Templar on the field to feed back those Thor, though. I'm surprised we haven't seen that quite yet, because that is, I mean, High Templar is a direct counter to Thors.
High Templars absolutely destroy Thors, you were right. And we look, never mind, Pierre's not going to push. Got proxy pilot going down near this 3rd. I'm surprised our Terran player is not taking this 3rd faster.
Yeah, he's definitely sitting in quite the little deficit here, because Pierre was able to take out Pierre's is, well, I guess it's natural up at the gold, but I'm going to go ahead and call it Pierre took out Luc's 4th and Luc's 3rd base, and put Looc down on 2 base, and then Pierre just calmly went back and macroed up onto his 3rd base, and there's the Templar Archive being dropped. But Pierre really has the economic advantage, he has the army advantage, and he might have the upgrade advantage. I can't find his units. There they are. Yeah, three armor upgrades for Pierre, 111 for mech for Looc. So, I mean, Pierre has the advantage in every right in this game right now.
Yeah, our Terran player really needs to make some Vikings right now to counter those Colossus. We've got 3 more Immortals coming down here in this army. This is a very scary army. Those Immortals are going to do a lot of damage to those Thors.
Yes, they will. 3 Immortals and 5 Colossus on the field. In the meantime, we do... Oops, that is the wrong tab. There are 31 Marines in this army, which just isn't quite the counter to 5 Colossus with more on the way. And now we have Hallucination on the way as well. That's kind of an interesting upgrade, too.
Yeah, I wonder if Pierre's so much is playing with him right now. He's in a good position, so he might as well macro back at home. We see the 4th being taken and fully saturated already. Well, I think Pierre could push him right now and win with proper micro.
I completely agree. 189 to 136 supply. That is a huge supply advantage. He has a pretty big upgrade advantage. He pretty much has every advantage in the book that he could ever possibly want, except the advantage of losing. Looks like the Terran army is moving out a little bit. That's kind of a risky way to do this, though, I think.
Yeah, he needs to stay at home. He needs to do some drops right now. Pierre's income is just crazy right now. He's really not done any economic damage to him, and looks like a lot of SCVs being pulled. This might be a last chance sort of push right now.
Oh man, a massive amount of feedback going down on Thor's 4. Thor's 4 feedback is a lot of energy. And here comes the final engagement. One force field does go down, but it doesn't really do all that much. Guardian Shield is popped for one of those sentries, and another one could be popped out, and that sentry did fall. But it looks like this is going to be the GG here. Those Thors do smash the force field. And yes, there's the GG from Looc. My goodness, that was a fairly decent game out of both of these players. And very, very interesting to see a new player here on the Coffee Cast. I didn't exactly like a lot of the strategies he was doing. Once again, I agree with you. I feel that Terrans in general should be doing a lot more drop play. They've kind of fallen away from the drop play in the recent metagame, and I'm not exactly sure why.
It does so much damage to Protoss. If you can snipe some pylons even, that supply blocks, it unpowers buildings and such. There's so much potential in drops in PvT.
Indeed there is. Spawn, thank you so much for joining me here on the Coffee Cast. It's been a pleasure to have you. It really has.
It's been a pleasure to be here, Coffee.
You did a very great job tonight. Is there anything you'd like to say to the chat?
Not really. Thanks for watching. We should support local casters as much as we can.
Well, thank you for the little bit of plug on my own stream there. Spawn, thank you once again for joining me, and I hope you will join me next week for Amateur Attack.
Absolutely. See you then.
See you then.